Can you hear me okay?
I can. It's a little bit of noise
You want me
here,
to just
but
be loud?
if you can be as loud as possible, that'd be great.
Oh, listen, man, I can be loud, so don't worry about that.
I don't have any earbuds with me.
All right, well then I will be loud. Let me change up my view here real quick. So I just wanted to follow up with a couple of questions after you talked to Adiane. I know that you shared some videos with her as well. Can you explain to me, first of all, where you were in the Capitol, if you know where you were, and explain to me what we're seeing in the videos?
Are we talking about? Sorry, there's a lot of noise out here. Are we talking about the entire time I was inside, or are we focusing more on when the shot happened?
Well, why don't we just take it in linear progression? Why don't I just start from the beginning?
Okay.
So you're outside the Capitol.
Yeah.
At some point, everyone starts moving towards the Capitol. You make a personal decision that you want to go into the Capitol. Can you just kind of take me through that mindset and what was happening?
Yeah, my personal decision was just to be as close to what was going on as humanly possible without getting myself either hurt or in trouble. I took some pepper spray, took some gas. I got hit by a concussion grenade that fragmented and hit me in the knee, so I'll have a nice bruise there tomorrow probably. And then there was obviously an incredibly aggressive attempt to breach the the police line there on the front side of the Capitol, and they did. It was unbelievable how aggressive these kids were. When I say kids, it was all ages, but they were younger than me. I guess I should wait on the Amtrak here.
I can actually hear you pretty good despite the train.
Okay. And then what ended up happening was there was a clear breach, and all of a sudden you could just see a wave of people going in and entering the building, and I got into the wave of people that are going in, and I was in that first group of people that made it inside, and then it was just it was pretty much free for all at that point. People were getting access to all parts of the Capitol building except into the specific chambers. I mean, they had there were doors that were locked and nobody was knocking doors down or that sort of thing. Although they made some pretty aggressive attempts to get into the House chamber.
Did you encounter any resistance at all trying to get inside of the U.S. Capitol building?
Oh my gosh, yes, it was incredible. I mean, I have unbelievable amount of video of the Capitol Police and other agencies doing everything they could to keep people out. I mean, it was a hardcore effort that lasted for probably a good hour before they were breached.
When the breach happened, did the Capitol police officers and other law enforcement officials who were there, did they simply move out of the way, or did they just sort of, the seas parted and they were just like, we're done?
That's exactly what happened. They were just overwhelmed. I mean, and these guys that were determined to get in just were not going to give up. They would get sprayed. They'd get hit right in the face with pepper spray, go get washed off, and go right back at it again. They were not giving up, and unless they had determined to use deadly force on these guys, these guys were going to get in.
Once you made the determination that you were going to go inside, sort of take me through from the moment that you entered the building. Were you just sort of walking around? You said everyone, for the most part, was respectful of the building and the property. Yeah. What did you see?
Yeah, most people were very respectful, and then there were the few, that weren't being as respectful as they should be. Were being called out by, a larger group of people saying, "Hey, don't do that. Don't break things. Don't tear things up. Don't damage. Don't deface the properties." And so it was mostly a respectful walk through the Capitol. But I will tell you that once they got to Pelosi's office, there was some damage done. They tore up Pelosi's signs that enter her office area, flipped over some tables, some chairs, things like that. That's as much of that I saw before the police came in and started stopping that from happening.
So you were inside of the speaker's office?
Yes.
Okay, and there were 10, 20, 30, 50 people inside the speaker's office?
Probably anywhere from 20 to 30 at the time that I got there.
And some people were just sort of walking around taking it in. Other people were sort of damaging the office.
Yeah, they were taking souvenirs, like tearing her sign. They broke the actual first sign you see going into. They tore that off and broke it into little pieces for souvenirs.
And now you said at that point the police came in, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. The police came in and started clearing people out. Is that
They
fair?
came in and got much more aggressive when they realized that there was damage being done.
What did that aggression look like?
Just pushing, pushing them out. They did not use tear gas at that moment, but they did when they were trying to enter the actual House chamber, which happened shortly after that. Then everybody moved down to the House chamber, and they were pounding on the doors. Quite a large group of people were pounding. There was no police present there whatsoever. And then I actually got video of police coming in pretty aggressively at that point, and then started using gas. And then as soon as they started using gas, people were trying to get out of there as fast as they could.
Did you hear, or were you in the presence of any gunfire inside of the Capitol?
Yes. I had actually decided to go downstairs and look for a restroom, believe it or not, because I've been out here all day long, and hadn't been able to use a restroom for, at this point, quite many hours. And so I was downstairs, one level down from the main floor of the Capitol, and that's when there was a shot. And to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you whether it was just another flashbang, a concussion grenade. There's just no way to tell from in there, because there was just so much of that going on that I didn't know that it was a shot until I rounded a corner, and I was completely by myself at this point because I had gone away from the crowd and was just wandering down there looking for a public restroom, if there is such a thing in the Capitol. And what ended up happening was I had a young female officer that came over to me and took me by the arm and said, "Sir, I want to escort you out of here safely." And I went, "What are you talking about?" And she's moving me towards the door, and she said, "Sir, do you feel safe? You first feel safe?" And I said, "Well, do you feel safe?" And she goes, "No, I don't." And I said, "What's the problem?" And right then on our left was the girl who had been shot, and they were working on her and giving her CPR at that moment. And there was just blood everywhere. And so I asked the officer, I said, "So you guys shot somebody?" And she said, "Well, she pulled a gun." And I said, "Wait a minute, she pulled a gun?" And she goes, "Yes, she pulled a gun on us." And she was the cop was shaken up, much more so than I was. And then I exited, I politely, and she was very, very gracious. And she literally took me by the arm all the way out of the side entrance there. And so I stood right there inside they were forming a new police line with barricades, and I wasn't getting run out. I was staying inside that barricade line at that time, and waiting for them, because at that moment the EMS had arrived. So I was waiting to get video of her being brought out, and I did capture that.
That's incredible. I want to rehash some of this real quick. So where you rounded a corner with this Capitol police officer and saw this woman on the ground, this was just outside of the House chamber, correct?
Like underneath the House chamber. Yeah.
Underneath the House chamber.
Stairs down just underneath it. Mm-hmm.
And let me be clear. 1 second. Let me be clear. You are saying that this Capitol police officer told you that the woman who was shot had pulled a gun inside the Capitol?
That's correct. That's exactly what she said.
And did she indicate who fired the shot that hit this woman?
No, not at all.
Are you led to believe it was the Capitol Police?
No, I wouldn't say, because by this time I had seen armed ATF agents in there. So we'd seen 3-letter agencies all over the building at that point.
So I guess what I mean to ask is, you presume that it was a member of law enforcement that shot this woman, not somebody else?
No, she very specifically told me that they shot someone because she had pulled a gun on them.
I see. And this group that was with this woman who was shot, were they attempting to enter the House chamber?
At this point, I don't know, because it was near an entry door. And so I don't know if they were exiting, if they were trying, because at this point, there was no, scrum of people trying to enter that particular door at all.
Now you see this. You see a woman who has been shot laying on the ground inside of the U.S. Capitol. At this point in time, or at any point in time, were you fearing for your own personal safety and maybe thinking this wasn't a good idea?
No, I will be honest with you. I was there specifically to get as close as I could as a citizen journalist myself, just to get as much information as I could. And and to be honest with you, I got some very close video of guns being drawn while I was there, and I questioned the officers point blank. I said, "Are you going to use those weapons on me?" And one particular officer who was carrying a large automatic rifle, as he was putting his mask on, he said, "If I have to." That was his response to me, and I got that on video. And then there were several others that were in the ready position with their handguns.
What did you take that to mean, if I have to? If you had advanced on him, you could have been shot. If you'd have pulled a weapon, you could have been shot.
Yeah, I would just assume that that's exactly what that meant. I mean, if I had done something, aggressive in his direction, particularly, in a deadly way, because there was a lot of aggressive moves being made on the outside. Once everybody was inside, it was mostly a respectful, tour of the Capitol, interior, but they were pretty aggressive getting in to the building.
So, Steve, cumulatively, how do you describe what unfolded today? I mean, different media members have thrown out different words: sedition, coup. From what you saw from your vantage point, what are some words that describe what unfolded today in the Capitol?
It's hard to describe a group of citizens as angry as they are about what they believe to be a vote that was, stolen from them, wanting to take back control of their government. And let's be honest, a government out of control, and that building being the very location where that malfeasance of governance is happening. And so I'll be honest with you, I was quite excited to see this going on. Now I'll go so far as to say that the next time it probably won't be so peaceful. I think that the next time people will be more prepared and will be much more aggressive than they were this time.
So you're saying you approve of what happened today?
Do I approve of what happened today?
Yes.
I approve 100%. Yeah.
And what do you think will happen now moving forward? Do you think that anyone who breached the building should be charged? What do you like? Well, let me ask you this: what are you going to do the rest of the night?
Well, I know that there's a curfew in a few minutes. I don't even know what time it is right now, but I know there's a curfew that's supposed to be implemented at 6 o'clock tonight. Is that correct? And
that's correct. It's 10 after 5 right now.
Yeah, I got that alert on my phone, and I expect that there's going to be quite a few curfew violators, and so I'm going to be as safe as I can and as much a distance as I can to document as much of that as I can until I'm forced to leave or such a thing.
Gotcha. Steve, would you mind sharing your last name with me?
Baker, Baker.
Okay. And you're from where in North
Raleigh.
Carolina? From Raleigh. Okay. Listen, I can't thank you enough for being so generous with your time. Yeah. That video that you referenced with seeing the guys with their guns, the video that you referenced with the guys saying that they had their guns drawn and the guy said, "If I have to use it," would you be able to text that to me on the phone?
If it's not too long, and of course, the service down here is really bad right now. I'm surprised we're able to even do this. We would not have been able to do this a couple of hours ago.
Sure. Even if you're able to edit it down into a smaller file, if you're able to text that to me, I would certainly appreciate that.
I will do that. And by all means, if you would reciprocate and send me, this, whatever, however this is used.
Yep, I will. I'm gonna take note of your cell right here on my notepad. So then when I have this segment, when I can clip it off of the newscast, I can share it with you via text.
Fantastic.
So great. Thank you so much.
I will try to get that video to you here shortly. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.